So today is a day that I've looked forward to a very long time because I've acquired my dream laptop. Now, for a lot of us, a dream laptop may be something brand new, like a gaming laptop with a 4090 in it or something. However, mine is more of a nostalgic purpose, if you will. So back in my schooling days, I was looking for a laptop for school, and they had one of these at Best Buy, and I wanted it, but it was out of stock, and I believe it was discontinued. So the only one they had was a floor display model, which I think the hobbyists in us may understand why you wouldn't want to pay for a new one of those. So I was browsing eBay, as I do, for these behemoths, and I found one in need of rescuing. So this is a Toshiba Qosmio X300. Now, it was called the X305 in the United States. However, this model actually came from Canada. So it needs a little bit of help, but I think I just wanted to introduce it, and I'll show you a little bit about it right now. So let's get our first look at this Toshiba Qosmio. Now, this is a complete behemoth of a laptop. It is, I can only do millimeters, but that's got to be like 70 millimeters thick or something of the sort. Now, all of these I've seen on eBay have been very expensive, and I could not justify paying that much for something that will likely sit on a shelf. So I was fortunate enough to find one with a broken screen. So this was in Canada, and it was only about $30 US and like $20 shipping. So a proper deal for a restoration candidate. And really, I will take this apart and I'll show that today and figure out what screen I need to get to replace this. And just the absurdity of this laptop is, I think, something that we don't necessarily see anymore. A lot of them now have RGBs and things like that, but just the gaudiness and sheer mass of this is kind of been lost to the previous decade or decade prior to that. So it does not have a backlit keyboard. It doesn't have any RGBs, but what it does have is 1, 2, 3, 4, and wait, subwoofer, 5 gigantic speakers, a front-mounted DVD drive, which is something that you haven't really seen outside of like some MacBook Pros and stuff like that. And I don't know if this one has it. Okay, it doesn't, but the carriage is here. So this is for a multimedia remote that actually would have been included with this thing. So around the back, I guess we can just do a port check. So I have no idea what this port is, and that's bad, that's embarrassing. The charging port is massive. This is a screw, the lock port, VGA, Ethernet, HDMI, another screw. Over to this side, we have a door with, it's a modem. I don't know what else is in there, I'll have to peek. 2 USBs, mic, sound out, a volume slider. On the front, we've got our DVD and what appears to be a WLAN switch. And finally, we have an eSATA and a USB. And this really is like just I mean, I'm a large format male, but this is a large format laptop. So when you see how big this looks, it's just obscene. And it has this crazy flame. So I think the next thing we're gonna do now is actually get this thing apart and see what sort of screen I need to get so I can actually start a proper restoration of this. So seeing that I don't actually have a charger for this thing, which in that case I would kind of just plug it in and put a VGA in it and just see if it works, I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of start taking this thing apart, because ultimately the display needs to come off. So I found a bit of perhaps pertinent information online on how to do that. One thing I will say about this is that the hinges are actually still like very strong for a laptop like this, which is not necessarily something I would have anticipated. Interesting. However, it seems to be the original one, which is always good, and it is not at all expanded or pillowed or anything, so it's always kind of a nice thing to see. And we're going to remove our RAM cover. And this laptop does apparently have 4 gigabytes of RAM in it, so, you know, a reasonable amount. And yep, that's nice to see. And I'll just put the screw back through this. And finally, the hard drive cover. And I do believe that this computer can actually accommodate 2 hard drives, which is, I mean, considering the size, I suppose expected, but still kind of cool. And nice, the caddy is in there, but I don't believe it has a hard drive, which is fine because I just have to throw it out anyway. Yep, and very cool. And whatever tech worked on this, respect, big respect for this. It's nice to see. So next step, oh cool, so 1 hard drive slot and 2 hard drive slot, and that's really quite cool. So now I am going to continue the disassembly. So something that is really kind of cool that has assisted a lot here is that these screws are actually all labeled in the laptop. So I know it's hard to see, but it's upside down. Like that's an F10, that's an F6. So most of the ones holding the bottom in were F10s, and I kind of just taped them all to the same piece of tape with a label. So that really kind of made this a lot less daunting in terms of keeping track. So now this kind of gets a bit scary, as pretty much the next step is to remove the top case. And there's already like a small crack right here, so I want to do my best to keep this laptop in good shape. So right, now hopefully that is it. All right, cool. And nothing stuck. So really not bad at all. And we're met with a rather impressive looking computer. Well, size-wise at least. I mean, you can see processor is somewhere. That is, I don't think the processor, because I think the processor is actually socketed. So here's the video card, and this is a pretty beastly machine in terms of the aesthetics. So here's where I'm at, just like a quick update. So I'm just going to be actually removing the LCD now, and in order to do that, I need to remove a few more cables, mainly I think networking related things and things of the sort. So now this laptop has a socketed, or it has a removable video card, and it has a socketed processor. So hypothetically, I'd actually be able to hot rod this thing. I don't know if I will, because I would have to fully remove the motherboard, which would require further disassembly of the laptop, but the way I see it, I'm already 60% of the way there. I might as well. All right, and so the ground one, there is an arrow there, and there's no other arrow stamped anywhere else, so that's how I will remember. And that was extremely anticlimactic compared to my fear. So now the display assembly is pulled off, which is exciting. And I have this screw, which I don't know where it came from, but it is that size. So, wow, this weighs absolutely nothing. So funny. You can move this off right away. And I shall direct my attention to here, which, truth be told, I have absolutely no idea how this goes together. So, my best guess would be that visible screws are best hidden by pieces of rubber, such as these 4 and these 2. So, in order to check that, I'll simply go ahead and pull one up. And, all right, good. That is nice to see, and I want to try my best to preserve the rubber integrity of these. All right. And I will have to see if these 2 inner ones are just screw cover. Yep, okay. I figured they might also be there just because of how obscenely large this thing is. All right. Well, the good thing is that I don't have to worry about breaking the display. Help here. It's possible there's adhesive. I don't believe there would be, but you never know. So I'm going to take my, I think it's a phone screen spudger, and just kind of use it as an obstacle finder. Okay, good. That is what I wanted. Scary, but fortunately this plastic seems to be rather flexible, especially considering it's kind of old and large. So this is good, because this is a piece that if you break it, it would not be good. All right. So we have our sort of almost like dark cherry Qosmio screen bezel removed. And now we find ourselves face to face with the culprit, which is this broken screen. All right, it does seem like I just need to remove these bottom 6 screws and then I'll be able to get at the LCD, because if I kind of go like that, you can see it's loose in the top. So I will just go ahead and do this from the front, as I'm getting excited to see. I have to say, this whole laptop is kind of like a big clunky, like plasticky behemoth. So when you touch it, you kind of feel like, oh, this thing's a piece of crap, just like the plastics. But it came together perfectly. I didn't break one single thing. Seems rather well engineered. And truthfully, it's actually not very difficult to work on, which is nice. All right, so I hope that this would kind of just lift out. So we have our top lid, and oh, don't tell me this is a broken piece. Right after I said that, right after I said, hey, this is great, I didn't break anything, this broke off. Okay, so this is something that I will fix with CA glue. And I can now just go ahead and see what's up with this. So I was able to find a used one of these on eBay for $22, and I've ordered it now. Should get it in the next 3 or 4 days, I think. And until then, I'm just kind of going to leave this table a mess as it is and maybe just passively clean up some parts of this laptop and things like that. But this is kind of how we're leaving it. And I am very excited to finally have one of these, and I'll be more excited to get the new screen in. And shoot, I need to get a charger too, so buy affordable one of those. And yeah, I'll post this, and then the next video of this, I guess, will just be putting the new screen in and putting it all back together. All right.